Yo, this is Big Jake reporting to you live about a story from the Old West. This story is about a young prospector, 15 years old. 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 His name is Lamar Barron. He's a young prospector, 15 years old, and he has a sister named Erica Barron. And sit back and enjoy, because this one is about the Old West. Back in 1850, there was a young black boy named Lamar Barron. And at first he had it hard because back in the old days, black and whites never got along. So he always stayed away from the white people and always took care of his little sister and his parents. But the parents mostly did all the work because the parents are the ones that take care of you. So he spent he despite all the hardship with the hard times with white people and everything, they still had fun, went places, and did a lot of stuff and worked really hard. But then one day, a tragic thing happened. Two white people came breaking into the house, started shooting up everything. The parents were able to hide Lamar and his sister, but the parents weren't so lucky. They were both shot in the head, and they died instantly. And Lamar and his sister were all that was left alone. They got sent to the orphanage where no one ever cared about them. One time Lamar just was moping around, just being sad, and his sister was with him until all of a sudden he found something on the ground. It was a golden penny. And his sister found one too. All of a sudden they kept finding more and more and more. And they found so many, they went to turn into the man. They went to go turn into the guy that gives them money for gold. And so, but before they knew it, they had money to buy food, and before they knew it, they had money to buy food and stuff for themselves. Hell, it's good food for themselves, and they were able to cook a lot of good stuff, by getting that money. Creamy rice, grits, and some good old oatmeal. And so they were able to cook a lot of that good stuff. But then all of a sudden news went about the giant rock of gold known as the gold known as the Golden Rockstone was rumors spread it around. And rumors spread around. And Lamar and his sister Erica heard about it. So they went off to find. So quietly they slipped out of the orphanage and went off to find the gold. During their journey, they ran into a lot of obstacles around them. there were a lot of white people shooting at them. There were a lot of white people shooting at them because they were black, and and they were. It was pretty hard for them to come across food, and they were very hungry. Great. But then all of a sudden they met another white person who did not hate black people. And so and the white person offered them some help, but at first they were refusing because a lot of black people were treating them badly and everything. And so but the white man was but the white man was following them and everything. Thing was able was able to convince them that he's not like all those other white people. And so Lamar accepted the help from them. And the white man was able to provide them with food and hospitality and stuff. They were, of course, he was a hunt. Of course, he was a hunter, because they were out in the wilderness. Because they were out in the wilderness, so they had to shoot at some animals to get their food, and they also had to fish as well. And so Lamar, just went on, and so Lamar just kept going. And so Lamar just kept going with his sister and that white man named Denver. And named Denver. And so Lamar, Erica, and Denver kept going. They kept running into a lot of obstacles and everything. But unknown to them, there's a white man there was an old white man who was actually Denver's brother, but hated Denver because he loved black people so much. And so Denver's brother decides to go after Denver, and find out he was hanging around with those black kids, Lamar and Erica. And so he follows them, thinking that he would lead them to the hard rock stone, which is the big gold. And so, time the days went on, and so the days went on, and they go off to, and finally they find the heart, and finally, Denver realized that his brother was following them and the kids, and so they go, and so Denver decides to chase off Denver says to Lamar and his sister to go on, and just goes off to, and they go, and Denver stayed and fought with his brother. Again, the months went by. And his sister and the sister and the brother learned how to hunt from Denver. So they knew how to take care of themselves, provide themselves with food. And so they keep going until they reach the top of the Prospector Mountain. The Prospector Mountain was very, very shiny. The grass looked like gold. And inside there were green grass and flowers inside the mountain. So they kept going, looking around and enjoying the sights until finally they came across us the hard rock stone. It was a big giant chunk of gold that was as tall as a building, as tall as the Empire State Building. And so and so they were figuring out how to get it. They figured out how to they were figuring out how to get it, get it until all of a sudden Denver's brother pulls up with Denver. And so and was going to kill him unless Lamar and Erica gives up the gold. Lamar and Erica had no choice, so they gave up the gold. So they gave up the giant gold, and Denver's brother was leaving them to die, and was set up dynamite all around the mountain so it would collapse around them. Lamar and his sister was able to find the way. Just when it seemed hopeless, Lamar and his sister was able to find a way out. And then they took Denver and went after his brother. Denver was so full of himself, thinking that he had won. But then all of a sudden, he could not believe his eyes. How did they get out? And so Denver grabbed his gun and started shooting at them. He was missing, but he was missing every time. As they came close to the town, they came closer and closer to the town until all of a sudden, Lamar was able to kick over Denver's brother's horse and then goes off and was able to get the gold. And was able to get the gold. And so, then Denver's brother tries to convince them that Lamar was trying to steal it from them. But Lamar tells the whole entire story about how Denver's brother tried to kill them and everything, and also that he was won, and also showed the picture that Denver has won it for $1,000. So finally, Denver's brother got arrested, and the gold was now Lamar's and Erica's gold. And what did they do? And what did they do with it? They opened up their own restaurant serving burgers of different kinds of meat. Serving burgers and steaks and chicken and other stuffs, all different kinds of meat. From all different kinds of meat. Deer meat, buffalo meat, yak meat, fish, chicken, duck, and everything. Plus they opened up their own orphanage and only hired people that cared about black people. And so they go. And plus their restaurant had different kinds of eggs. Chicken eggs, duck eggs, emu eggs, ostrich eggs, any kind of eggs. And all different kinds of meat. And the restaurant still goes on till this day. Hey, hey, Lamar, Lamar, both Lamar and his sister ended up finding the love of their lives. Both Lamar and his sister Erica both ended up finding the love of their lives, and they both wound up having 5 children with the love of their lives. And and they kept running their restaurant. It kept going on and on and on and on and on. Finally, Lamar and his sister, Lamar and his sister both passed away. Hey, Lamar was 96. His little sister was 98 when they passed away. But their descendants still care. But their descendants still carry out the restaurant. His his great grandkids and everything. They both still carry out the restaurant. Aunt, Aunt, Lamar, and they still spread the rumor about their great grandfather, father, who was known as a hard rock prospector and was respected by all people, especially white people from back in the old days. So Lamar Barron legacy still lives on till this day. From 1850 to 2021. And that, my friends, is the story of the young black hard rock prospectors. The end. Hit subscribe if you want to hear more stories. And remember, Black Lives Matter and create social unity. Remember that. This is Big Jake signing off. Peace out.